So we wrapped up Sanjay Prakash, and we're moving on to Čičo.
Sort of from one traditional style to another traditional style.
Yeah, with Sanjay Prakash, we were concerned with focusing around the tabla and the Sarod, since it was based on North Indian classical piece, and kind of carving out their space out of the mix and letting everything else kind of fill in around it. And for this one, this is a traditional Balkan piece. So we're looking for more of sort of an overall blend and not really necessarily featuring individual instruments as much.
One of the things that makes this song go, I believe, is the really steady udu. And I think that can probably push a little harder than the tabla parts. In terms of just what's driving the rhythm, because it is the pulse pretty much throughout the whole song.
Yeah, it drops out a couple of times.
Yeah, but the other ones fill in, but it is sort of the bottom of the percussive spectrum.
Yeah, and we determined that that's even got some aspects of it that are lower than some speakers will even handle, right?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So we can use the tabla just to kind of flavor the groove, is what you're thinking, and use the udu to be the foundation.
Yes, exactly.
And the percussion ensemble on this is one we've used on several of the tunes, which is udu and tabla and kanjira. And the kanjira has these nice jingles that already just sort of by their sonic character float over the rest of the percussion.
Okay. We do have two different tabla takes, one of which has already been edited, and I'm pretty sure that's the one we're going to go with. I don't think there was...
Yeah, did we mute the other one?
Yeah, it has been muted. We have not been listening to it.
Yeah.
So I think we just sort of made the determination that this was the better take.
Yeah, they're both the same part, so I think we're just using the tabla one.
Great. Nothing really different about the guitar on this one than any of the other tunes.
Right.
Probably will be a little bit drier in terms of the effects applied to it.
Yeah.
The strings, I hear them as sort of not dark, but not really shiny. Very sort of natural and focused. So imagine the tonality of an older recording without the hiss and crackle and the detracting parts of that sound, but just sort of a sound that is maybe not quite as hi-fi as we could make the strings sound.
Right. And what would you use to get that?
I'm not totally sure yet, but it's probably just going to be shaping with a little bit of EQ.
Yeah.
There's nothing going to be any fancy. I do think that they should sound pretty warm and round, but for some reason I have the association with that kind of folk music of the very woodiness of the instruments. Okay. Well, I think that gives us a really good starting point. We're going to go ahead and start. I think I will spend a little bit of time just on the very bottom, on the udu, to make sure that is right. And then I think it's pretty much a sort of a reverse process in this case, where I want to get the percussion working with the strings and make sure that has the right sort of feel and vibe to it.
Right.
And then go back to the other instruments that we've had been focusing more on the other songs.
Yeah.
The guitar, Sarod, tabla.
Yeah, typically our process so far has been sort of this side of the console, which is over here we've got the percussion on the far left, and then Sarod, and we've sometimes used these three for Sarod
acoustic,
also.
Right, either the acoustic or
guitar,
another Sarod.
and then guitar, and then all the strings and the drone we have down there.
Yes, exactly.
And then all our
effects returns and subgroups and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay, all right, so let's start with...
the one thing also with this tune, no drone.
Great. No drone. And this is going to be pretty important to get right because it is kind of a tricky sound because it can sound great in here and be almost inaudible on many playback systems.
So and we've got.
I think we may patch in that Toltec for that guy.
Okay.
Because he was very helpful in getting us that sort of more focused round sound.
Yeah. And I'll just say while you're patching that,
yes.
You got 3 mics on the Udo.
Yes.
The central mic is the close mic, which is picking up most of the low sound, and then a stereo pair on the outside.
Yeah, and they were. It was really, we were making a sort of whole.
Yeah, like a percussion
kit.
Yeah, station sort
of. Yeah,
of.
it really was.
So when you're treating this low sound, you're going to treat pretty much this mic.
Well, yes. So because that is really where the low frequencies are coming from.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to bring out a little bit more of the high end of that mic as well. It sounds like it may have moved a little bit close to the hole on the Udo.
Yeah.
On this tune, because I'm not really getting much of the sound of the hand.
Yeah, compared to the other tracks we've been working with.
Yes, exactly. This is a little dull. All right. So we set this guy to something approaching flat. Okay, can you hit the insert button on that channel, please? Thank you.
You're welcome. This way. Oh, wait.
So either go back.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got one more channel of that available to me.
Oh, so you can use the Transient Designer on the Sarod and on the...
There are 4 channels of Transient Designer.
Oh, awesome.
Which is a very handy thing.
So that's after the tube take?
Yes. Bypass the insert for me for just a second, just to make sure nothing jumps.
Insert back?
Yes, please, thank you. It's doing basically what I needed to do.
Sounds good.
I think we might... a whole lot of difference. I don't know if we're going to keep this totally stereo or not. I will just sort of see how it works with the other percussion.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start over here on the strings and just sort of listen to the room, which did not have the full ensemble in place. Like for example, in this case, it might be... The room might be the right place to start with the predominant string sound.
Is that the massive passive?
Yeah, it's not going through there right now. I have it bypassed because I don't think that's going to be what I'm going to need here. This is the room for the violin too. Recorded separately.
That room mic by itself was already kind of a nice, dark, rich tone.
Yeah.
It's taking out some of that kind of nasally. It's good. What's that up there?
This is a high pass that we were using on those mics over there. Just turn it off, keep it from distracting me. I think there's one instrument that's just really jumping out there in the room.
Bring some of the highs back in.
Yes. Thinning it out a little bit. Okay. So we've got this other violin recorded separately in a different room. Same room, different time. It's quite a bit smoother.
Mm-hmm.
got here? Start with the cello. Okay, it's a little
Right.
abrasive,
Yeah.
which we're gonna fix quickly. We're sort of taking out some 1.5 and some 500. Take out some of that, some of that little bit, that weird middle that's so biting. It might be a little bit much, but these equalizers don't give me a. These are very broad shaping tools. You can't do anything really surgical with them. But it can certainly help a lot.
Yeah, the other mic's got all the richness in it.
Yeah, it does. Bottom to that mic.
Adding a little bottom?
Yeah, just to that mic.
Yeah. The first one.
Yeah, I think that's a good start for our cello. Let's
Yeah.
look at our viola. This one I sort of really prefer the ribbon mic.
Which one is the ribbon?
The Coles.
Yeah.
And this one.
Which right channel?
Left.
Left.
Actually, I like them both together.
Yeah.
This guy we're gonna have to add a little bit of top, I think.
Yeah. On the ribbon.
Yeah. There we go. Liking that? We're gonna check the violin one. So on the Coles, we're gonna have to pull some of the scratchiness out of it.
Yeah.
Let's see, solo our bottom end here. Okay.
What do you think?
We just got to tame down the violin one just a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll take very much at all. We'll do it visually.
This is basically a compressor.
Yeah, this is a multi-band compressor, and basically all we're doing is we're sort of grabbing that you know, 1 to 5 range, and just giving it a little downward pressure, just to keep it from jumping out. It'll save us some automation later. Fix that note while we're here. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of doing it.
Yeah. Devil's violin.
That's the one tuned an octave down, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's really spooky sounding.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to do just a little bit of shaping to the strings overall.
So this is the entire string bus is going
You're
through
right,
there?
exactly.
It's subtle.
But all of a sudden it sounds more tipsy. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a slightly forward sound.
Yeah, it's great.
So that's kind of the sound I was going for. So it's a very ensemble. Yeah, so you turn those guys off for just a second.
Yeah.
And we may end up, right now it's sort of spread across the whole stereo field, and we'll probably end up, placing it a bit more specifically.
Yeah.
Once we get all the percussion in. But let's see what happens when we start to add some Sarod before we add the other percussion.
Inserts out first. Oh, we have the transient designer on it still.
Designer is on it.
And the fern is still on the bus.
So there's a good chance it's going to be okay.
Yeah, let's leave it.
Now, in this case, I think we're going to have to... Okay, we've got a... I'm take a look at something on this Sarod. Okay, so let me turn it off first. So that's without any time adjustment. That's with the time adjustment. So it opened up the mid-range. There were some middle and high frequencies that were being masked.
Yeah.
By that. And of course, you know, it's at 405, you can...
So I kind of like that. That might be more it.
That's certainly much more open. So let's do another one. Turn that one off and make this guy 405 again.
Oh, then we can ABM.
Yeah, you can.
So that's 405.
That's 405. That's nothing. This is 903.
It's a little meatier.
Well, basically, what we're doing is we're doing something almost equivalent to an octave of the canceling frequencies,
right,
or close to.
Trying to get it to 810.
Just curious. I think that's it right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is that 933?
It's at, yeah, 933. It's a little quiet. Now I can change the polarity without extreme stuff happening.
Yeah.
A little too much. So we're just gonna pull up a nice tight room. Pull up a nice tight room for the strings. It'll probably also serve us very well for other things.
Oh, verb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of a nice. These, yeah, something maybe a bit more ambient-like.
Is this what was playing now? Is what we have a large hall we used already?
Yeah. Without it. That's with it.
You're thinking something smaller?
Well, I'm exaggerating it a whole lot so I can hear it.
Yeah.
I think that might do it.
That sounds good. Nice tight. Same for Sarod.
I'm going to try it anyway. Okay. All right. Well, so we bopped back over to the tabla because it needs to be one of the last ingredients to sort of check to make sure in its raw form it's a good tabla. And just adjusted a little bit of EQ and comparing it to the Udu for making sure that they feel like an ensemble. And getting ready to do the same thing with the conjira and sort of basically shaping the entire percussion section now. And that includes the usage of one of the reasons why we jumped from the strings to this is this sort of acoustic environment. We found one that works really well with the strings.
The reverb you're talking about.
The reverb. But we also need to make sure that it's going to be flattering to the other elements, which means prepping those other elements so that they can be put into the pot. So in order to do that, I need to do just some preliminary shaping of it. So I'm liking that reverb. it's basically you're talking about playing in the town square or town circle.
Yeah.
You hear the diffuse echo.
Yeah.
That's coming off of the buildings and around.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the idea.
Now
we're going to check to see.
Can we do more like a thatched roof building?
Yeah, I'll work on that. So now we're going to go back to checking our percussion and strings. So there's some mid-range stuff in the strings that I'm going to have to probably scoop out a little bit because I'm losing some of the ringing of the tabla and the conjura.
What about using the? Oh, that's already solid.
What's that?
Remember the little EQ gag we did yesterday on the
yes,
high tabla?
We may need to do that as well, but I think we still have some overlapping stuff here, which I could probably demonstrate very quickly by doing this on the on this EQ. It's somewhere down. So this is what I'm changing. Without that cut.
That's cutting out some of the mids.
That's not cutting it out.
Yeah.
That's cutting it out. Now listen to the tabla. Listen to it disappear.
Yeah.
Hear how it jumps forward as soon as I add that cut?
Yeah. Where is that frequency?
470, right around 500, which is...
That's where the note is. So, and this goes to the balancing that you were talking about, jumping back and forth, because if we cut out too much of that, we lose the tonal characteristic of what we wanted in the strings in the first place, which is part of the reason to jump to tabla and bring it in at that point.
The thing about mixing is that if you try to approach it too systematically or too by formula, you'll find yourself unable to work on lots of different genres of music. And like anything else, everything is related to everything else. So you can't adjust one thing without it also affecting other things.
Right.
So quite often you are jumping around doing a very tiny adjustment on one thing because of how it's affecting the strings. For example, I may be really working on the strings, but I'm over adjusting the EQ. I'm adjusting the EQ not because of the tabla, but because I'm working on the strings. So, and since I'm actually used to working alone a lot of the time, I just do it before I even think about it. But let's see if we can make sure that we have the good percussion string ensemble that we want to have that gives us the right feeling. have my left, right, backwards.
Oh, on the string sand?
That's correct.
So you're patting them?
Yeah.
Bringing them in a little bit like we were talking about?
Yes. Yeah, so we're bringing them in a little bit, just trying to make them